Welcome back. I'm going to be playing a bit of Disco Elysium. Then I'm going to play a little bit of Borderlands. And in the middle we'll have a word from our sponsor. Because they gotta eat the biscuits. So I just went somewhere fascinating. I went to a bit of the internet that, like, I've been trying for a while to find my way around the internet. I'm fascinated. Like, it's such a complex space where your chances of getting into any bit are so fickle, and so whole huge things can be happening without you. Not just, although I think it always sounds like it's not just kind of like extremist groups, but also just kind of weird groups, like whole interesting movements full of thought can be happening all around you. And I got into the world of as if the back of my throat is sore. Why do we have no cough syrup in the house? That's insane. The middle world. The very middle circle of hell. So it's kind of built on a discussion that Hannah and I were having earlier, that I'm just going to chuck you guys into. About... I can draw on this now, can't I? Let's go down a little bit in volume. I'm shouting. Yeah, look. And draw on all over it. Unfortunately... That's not too bad. Oh yeah, the laser works like that. Ooh, and I can have different pens. Interesting. So, it's the world of kind of, this is a very bad approximation of them, but stick figure animations on YouTube. And you won't struggle if you type in, if you just go to YouTube trending, you won't struggle to find them. And you'll see scores and scores of them. And they're kind of lovely. They're little slice of life stories. Slice of my life. Why didn't I just write slice of life? No one will ever know the answer to that. Don't ask that. And they're kind of all little infomercials. Morals, values. And remember that this is trending. So trending is not the best thing on the internet. It is not It's not the thing on the internet that will be most watched. It's not the thing on the internet that will be most valued. It's not a measure of quality. It's just a measure of basically memeability. Some form of just like how... Oh, that's unseeable. Let's put it in this exploding cloud. That's better. Question mark on the E? They're right in the middle of what people are going off looking for. I'm gonna go down and down in volume until I can, like, every time I catch myself shouting that, I'm like, no, slow it down. I don't know why I'm shading this in, they're never. They're always on a white background. And, I knew of these through someone who I think is basically the most popular of these. They're certainly one of the ones that got to me first. An artist called Jaden Animations. I never know what name to use. A YouTube channel called Jaden Animations. What are we on the internet? Meme generators, I guess. A meme generator called Jaden Animations, and I've come across her stories quite a few times, and they're lovely. They're sort of just relatable, awkward but well-meaning comedy of manners, comedy of errors. And they're pretty fair to people, as far as, like, everyone in them is kind of, like, everyone's a character because they're in a comic strip, but they also, I think it's basically entirely well-intentioned. And when something shoots to popularity like this, it generates a lot of copycats, and I'm not at all saying that any one channel is the one and only. Because actually, the like popularity of these things looks like some horrendous chain of ideas all being interlaced on each other. Sort of cast of thousands who together write the biggest version of it. Like at some point someone comes up with like strain C3N and everyone's like, whoa, yeah, that's the one I want to see. But they're just kind of one of the variations. And then the whole thing feeds back. So the person who's making 2.wav.mov is like, 2.wav.mov 3n. They start to kind of resemble each other, and so C3n grows bigger. But it's not just the original thing that created it. The original thing that created it eventually gets completely swamped, and start to have the feedback of when 1AN comes in. Actually, maybe 1AN with the recombination with C3N is huge, and it's still called C3N, but actually all of this is growth that's come from 1AN. And you could trace the line back, but honestly, at the same time, like, maybe it couldn't have happened without 1AC and 1C. Maybe the fact that 2.gif3 actually went in a different direction, it's chaotic dynamics, basically. No one creates or invents anything. It's the combination of all the parts that went into creating that thought. I feel like it's kind of worrying saying stuff like that, because then you're like, oh, but does that mean you can't steal ideas? You can totally steal ideas. Like, you know. Actually, you don't always know. It's really easy not to know when you're stealing an idea, because you're like, well, a lot of this is my idea. The really difficult things are when it's like, this is idea A, and this is idea B that came a little later. Or maybe that came first, but has a smaller part of the overlap, which is the thing that people really want, and then that's the thing which grows up. Because when ideas replicate, they're not bound by any zero-sum game. They can suddenly, like, an idea that 3 raccoons are having. I actually don't know how to draw a raccoon. An idea that 3 raccoons are having becomes an idea that, like, a couple of birds are having. Or a squashed head bird. And then they pass it on to a few hundred. Like, an idea isn't like a human thing. It's just sort of a random variation that happened to be a good one. You're just like, oh, yeah. One day you stub your toe in a particular way and you're like, that's giving me a really good idea. Is this just on the wrong pressure levels? Am I just not pushing hard enough? No, it does seem on the wrong pressure levels. Let's go back to a fuller pen. Oh, that's better. That's much more visible. So, youtube.gov. You go there, and they have their trendsters, and it's a whole selection of videos, really, but you can kind of guess what's going to be in here. It's going to be some things that just truly are going to quickly go worldwide viral, like you have like news bloopers and an SNL sketch, because of course these are going to go viral. They start off in the public sphere, and if they're good, they'll go everywhere. This is how people like John Oliver really gain a lot of their value from their audience. It's because there's a lot of trading back and forth with the internet. John Oliver is one of the few people who could probably claim to be kind of equally successful. There's few, but there are a lot of people who dominate our media who probably claim to be about equally successful online and offline, in traditional media and new media. Other ones might be people like James... British guy who does American talk shows. James Corden, I think. They translate both ways. But also you'll have in here, like, some Muzak. You'll get your um, everyone's new favourite niche, like the thing that's trending on Reddit. Kind of hobbyists doing stuff. And sometimes that is animation. And animators are doing all kinds of things all over the internet. Like, just because you see an animation where there's a little guy and they look like this, it doesn't mean that it's like from the same animation thought school. It's not like all little guys saying this, like they all say the same thing. Like maybe they're all metric martyrs. What's he saying? He's saying just 1 inch, because he's 1 inch tall. Who cares? But there are a ton of them. You get your perfect stick people. You get your like more kind of semi-human people. You get your kind of 2 steps away from corporate marketing people. Like this person. This person's going to be doing something on clip art in Microsoft Word 2052. But there are schools of people who can learn animation from each other and go down that same path. And they're like, oh, that worked well, that was cool. How did they do the thing where everyone had square heads? I like that. They all looked, all their heads were pleasingly mopey. And I really felt like I could relate with those characters. And you get like, next person's like, I got an idea. Triangle heads. Triangle bodies. Next person was like, look like trolls. What if there was a YouTube channel which was just big troll people? My trolls are much lower. I peaked at the square heads. And so these ideas co-evolve, because actually maybe square heads are really good for talking about one thing, but they're hard to show looking straight at you, whereas triangle heads, when they look straight at you, have this really wonderful like talking to camera, almost stop sign quality. So both the message you're telling and the effectiveness of telling it kind of warble their way around, past one idea and through another. And maybe any one artist does the same style their whole life. Somehow you end up back on, like, this is very much the male symbol, isn't it? It's really... I think there's such a political minefield ever getting people to draw stick men that look like this. Because like these are not gendered stick people. But as we go to more and more sort of realist lookings, they become gendered. Just in case you're wondering, there's nothing wrong with drawing gendered stick people, but it is interesting, like, gender doesn't have to be a part of a conversation about the square heads and triangle heads. I like Ignore gender. Gender is. Oh, I don't know. I'm not going to give a lecture on what gender is. That'd be insane. I don't know. I've got no clue. I'm pretty sure it's made up. And so after a while, this kind of, it grows into a new group of things, where you've got people with heads like this, and people with heads like this, and people who aren't even people anymore. Maybe they're nice little boop 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 bots. Got an antenna, little arms and legs. I don't even know what this is. What's going on with this person's eyes? What's going worse? Maybe the Cyclopses. I hate this person. This person's gone. We did not talk about this person. They were never here. Sometimes friends are like, oh, you like to draw. Do you want to play a drawing game with us? And I'm like, no. No, what if I do it badly and I don't even get to like drawing anymore? And in this process where like the animation gets more and more complex, but also just like speciates and kind of you can see ideas moving around between them. Maybe these like little black soot people. Yeah, they're quite nice actually. Imagine he's about this big. He's looking up at the stars. Kind of thought tangle people. Nicely indistinct. No, I ruined it with that second thing. I say ruined it. One day I will learn how to do this without having to be like incredibly self-attacking. But today is not that day. I could just be. He could just not touch his head, couldn't it? Then I wouldn't even have to worry about that thing that I was worrying about. But the whole time when these ideas are combining and moving around into these, audiences tend to be growing. And the audiences are growing mostly just because these guys are continuing to create stuff. Like not every YouTube channel grows magically of its own accord, but most do because they're just testing out a wider bit of the audience. Like, this is the box with all of the audience in it, and here are the regions of people who would like your content. And maybe you start out like here, and you grow and eventually fill up this bubble, and then you're just kind of like, because people are constantly moving around the internet, just passing through, and then when they want to, they stay. And eventually your bubble grows, and then it actually kind of subsumes new bubbles. And this is how online spaces grow. It feels weird thinking about it like this, but they're just trying to find new groups who are interested in them as an audience. The dynamics change when they get to like here. They're like, oh, now our tactics were different, but also now they have no issue of being like seen here. This is anyone who ever feels like the outsider on a thing. This is where you live. But you are the outsider on 10 other things. Like I could put a different colour in here. You might be the outsider on like 3 other things, but I could put on a nice. Oh, I like that. Nice light blue. And this is the thing that you're in. But the whole time, this whole kind of over here point wasn't a very good point. No, my undo button is broken. Whatever shall I undo? I need to set up this app a little differently. The audience is growing and growing and growing, and it's growing. This has become a weirdly dirty word, but it's growing exponentially at first. Some people are going to see this and be like, my audience doesn't grow exponentially, or I don't think audiences grow exponentially. They absolutely do. Like, sometimes they can grow in big jumps. Like, sometimes viewers can go like, which is like when you put out a video, but actually over time it ends up looking something like this. And as you are seen by more people, as the fraction of the world that you can communicate with gets bigger, you tend to grow more. This then eventually, like, it satiates at some point where actually there maybe is some level of like quality, whether it's real or a imagined thing. There is some place where you kind of stop. I should play this game. Gotta go and play a different game in a sec. Life is hard. You know what? This is the thing I wanted to say at the beginning of this was so far gone. Sorry, anyone who ever watches this in the future. If you're watching in chat now, don't worry, you've just turned up. You haven't missed anything. Before anyone turns up, I tend to just talk to myself, like leaving little half-thought thoughts for future me, or anyone who wants to come along and remind future me of them. And this thought was basically trending YouTube. Is full of some quite problematically, well, that's my opinion. This is very political opinion. Very, well, I don't mean political, but problematically hardline moralist content right now. It's just a bunch of people being like, this is right, this is what right is, I did right and I'm going to tell you how to do right too. It's like a cookbook for how to make an ideal world, and some of that is always going around like, I'm doing that right now, I am moralizing. But sometimes it's presented without the ability for it to be like a thing you think through. It is I should get rid of this before I offend somebody, because I don't want to offend anybody. I just think it's worth thinking about. Like, go and have a look, and there's so much telling you like, this was what's right, and I did the right thing here, and how dare it be different. And it's very kind of after school special, and it all centers around this picture of there being some kind of, this is clearly fair, that I think is a dangerous thing to be pushing too hard, especially to young people who think that they're getting a full view of the world. It allows people to be the kind of like, no, everything's basically all right about the treatment of disabled people. Like, it was bad. They used to have to go to big scary buildings, but now it's fine. Now they're just poor. because a lot of it comes back down to a really pointed misunderstanding of the inequalities in society. Because if you think you can make a point about what is absolutely moral, you have to be sure that you're representing the value structure of everyone around you, and you're probably not. Because there's no such thing as moral just for you. How could you moralize just for you? You'd be like, yeah, this is useful for me, but I don't know, maybe I'm really going off in the wrong direction. Like, most of this is perfectly nice messages, like stand up for the little guy. Just some of the framing really struck me. I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to get myself a bowl of cereal. I'm going to come back and play this game. I return. Let's leave this disco. I think the issue is, right, that the person was murdered. So, at the end of day two on the case, I need a shave. And I haven't really got any leads. Well, no. I know who did it. How's my perception sight? It's good. It could be better. Wouldn't mind putting some points into it. And anything that I wouldn't mind putting points into, I may as well try the test. It's not time yet. When is it time? That's the wall to perceive of. Oh wait, which ones are the ones I can do? Maybe these are the ones I can't do. No. Oh yeah, centralization impossible. That's stealing the map. Let's go try him, because I would empathise with this guy. He seems cool. What am I holding in my hand? No, not that. Imagine being stuck in a traffic jam for months. I don't know when stuff starts changing, because there are things going on the clock all the time, and I don't think they're going on a clock of It's not kind of Ocarina of Time. I don't think there's some clockwork going on in the background constantly. I think it's ticking forward in distinct intervals. There's more people in here now, although I don't know if that means anything.
There you are again.
Do everyone else pay for this evening? Almost. She probably won't give me any money. Lovely light there. Let's just wait a couple of hours until 9. I feel so lost without Kim. Let's have my realization. Realizing I know less about the world. I'm becoming more able to learn. Let's go keep speaking to Joyce, see if that actually affects anything. Ooh. Those swells.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with?
Is she going to tell me what world we're in? When I see worlds like this, I kind of always want to ask, like, where does it shift? Do you want to hear a secret? Geology determines almost all of human activity. Geology is chaotic. Oh, I need to just start writing about chaos. It changes everything. give. Let one relativist make one of each thing. Poor all other relativists, now that this one's stolen it for video games. Oh god. Wow. It's describing the way that the world is rendered. As ContraPoint said, the inherent eroticism of the sea. I look like these days without glasses. Ugh. Terrible. What do I look like these days with glasses? Terrible, but with small glasses. I've just realised that these are exactly the glasses that an advisor of mine had. To the kind of very point. Seeing it as whole, seeing it as one globe. I take it for granted now, but this is true now. This is my truth. Regardless, I can play light-hearted Borderlands. I troll the megahertz. God, what if you watching this think this is supposed to make sense? All of this. And all of that. These weird hinterland spaces where no one is watching. I think these are the spaces where I'm closest to communicating science. Science communication was what I always wanted to do. Because that is what it ends up being like a lot. If I put this light down, oh, it disappear, and up, and down. Oh, and I can be a horrible half point. Oh, I can do that. That's nicer. How did I end up there? Yeah, that flattens out the face nicely. What does it? I don't know. Maybe it makes me look like a fish boy. Why am I worrying about this? Why does it matter? We all look like fish boys, really. We're all just fish. I think when the camera's back here, I'm at least basically looking at it. These are all the balls I'm juggling. You can't see them because they're imaginary, but it's very impressive. Well, I like seeing myself in big. I kind of actually get to know what it all looks like. I also like how slow the refresh rate on this camera is. I can really kind of phase out of existence. That was my exercise for the day. Someone's going to be the first one to find this, and they're probably just going to be like, oh, I don't care. Then someone's going to be the first one to find this. And I think, yes. I see what he's getting at. It's about essentialism, which it probably is. I don't know. I don't know what it's all about. I'm just a guy speaking into a camera. Maybe not a guy. Again, we'll talk about gender another time. Logical positivists. Yeah. I'm immediately looking up if I can. It's possible. Intro phonetics. I hope this is a complete. It's so strange to see people kind of asking questions about the game of this. I gotta end this show. Gotta do a different show. A little bit more normal. Oh. Oh. Some people read something like Herman Hesse's Glass Bead Game, and I'm like, aha, I know what this is about. You should never know what that's about. You should never know what this is about. This is about information entropy, and you should never know what it's about. I'm still trying to solve the crime while I'm hearing about this. I think she needs to hear this. I think I need to hear it. I believe it will. I have a good case record, if nothing else. The entire concept of passage of time in this game is kind of overwhelming to me. Like, it's just one of those. How can there be this much time? Alright, I'm going to end there. I'm going to restart once I check if the others mind me streaming Borderlands.